You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 156 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette. Here's your host, Jim Chester.
Hey everybody, so today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Jorge Campos. And if you want to know more about practicing in South America, all the way back to working in higher education, stay tuned. All right, we are live. Jorge Campos coming in from Sparkle City, South Carolina. Luke and Jim, Chiro Hustle, coming in from Colorado today. And you are episode 156.
Look at that.
I know, like I said before we started, time keeps marching on. And right now we're learning how to support each other more and help each other more. I was just on your show last week for about 30 minutes talking about my life story and how I got into chiropractic. And now I think it's fitting that we can flip the script a little bit, and you can share with us what your chiropractic story is and how you got into chiropractic and kind of how that's led you to where you are today at Sherman.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. My name is Jorge Campos. I am from Chile. That's why I have this really cool accent, if you were wondering where I'm from. And where to begin? So when I was 6 years old, no, I'm just kidding. When I was young, I always liked the human body. I did not like blood, so I knew I wasn't going to be a surgeon, or I never imagined myself behind a desk prescribing medication. So the closest thing that I would do and make me happy would be physical therapy. So I was actually ready to go to physical therapy school when I was 21. And what happened is I was blessed enough to meet a chiropractor in Chile. He showed me what chiropractic was, and I was absolutely fascinated. Hearing the philosophy, knowing this approach from about down, inside out, and then later on receiving an adjustment and noticing the change in my body, because I have a spondylolisthesis, which is a spinal degeneration that is never going to heal. And I get checked frequently, at least once every 2 weeks, at least. So after I talked to this wonderful doctor, Dr. Lee Eller, I was kind of sad because I learned all these new things. I learned about chiropractic, and he was leaving. He was leaving Chile, and I was going to stay there to study physical therapy. So when that happened, he noticed that, and he was like, you know what? You should become a chiropractor. And I just left because I was this poor kid from Chile, barely making a living, barely going to school over there. And I was invited to come to school in the United States, which was 10 times or even more than that money-wise. So I just laughed and I said, there's no way I can do this. And he smiled and said, well, tell you this. You can. He was from California. He said, you can come stay at my place. You don't have to pay for rent. We'll feed you. You just take care of your schooling. That's the offer I'm giving you. So for a whole year, I thought about it. I worked at the Marriott in Chile. I was in charge of customer service there. And finally, I still remember that I saved about $3,000, and I said, okay, I'm doing this. I grabbed my bags and I moved to the United States. I started my community college in California. First semester, I did great. At the time, it was $2,000 a semester. But for a local California resident, it was only $200. So I was paying 10 times more at this community college. But I paid it. I got a job at school, also doing things here and there too to make some extra money. Then second semester came, I paid again, but then when the third semester came, I had half of the money. I only had $1,000, but I had straight A's. I was an honor student. So they said, you know what? You got to do this. And they gave me a special scholarship. So they made me pay resident price, which was $200 instead of $2,000. So I was able to pay for my semester. Then, okay, so step one, community college. Awesome. Then I wanted to get a bachelor's because I didn't know where I was going with my life. And I wanted to be able to have the ability to go practice anywhere I wanted. So I knew I needed a bachelor's. So I went to the library. I got a book this thick of scholarships, and I started going, 5,000 scholarships, one by one. And all the scholarships, you were supposed to be American, Mexican descendant, or Puerto Rican. And I'm from Chile. So out of 5,000 scholarships, I only found 2 that I could apply to. So I do my applications, send them, pray God, because if I got a no for an answer, that was it. That was the end of my chiropractic career. And I got a full scholarship to go to Texas A&M. In Texas A&M Commerce, not College Station, but Texas A&M Commerce. Very tiny town, cute town. And I was there and I finished my bachelor's. And then finally came the time to go to chiropractic college. I went to Palmer Davenport, mostly for 2 reasons. Reason number one, the chiropractor that brought me to the United States, he was a Palmer grad. So in honor to him, I wanted to become a Palmer grad too. He told me all the stories of going to school in the snow. He was riding a moped, going to school, freezing. And it's funny, I did the same thing, man. I got a moped over there and I was going to school riding my little moped, completely frozen. But it doesn't matter. I had a great time. And the second reason is because I knew that chiropractic was born there, was founded there. So I wanted to be at the fountainhead. And I don't regret it. It was a really good education. And I feel very blessed that I became a Palmer grad. One thing that I can tell you, though, is when I moved to Palmer, at the time I was switching between being an international student and a U.S. resident. So my first semester, I paid it out of pocket, and I thought that I could do the second semester out of pocket too, and that was impossible. So at the time, I was completely broke going to school. I was working, going to Palmer. I was working construction with Dr. Scott Baker. He's also a chiropractor now, so shout out to Dr. Baker. I was selling my blood at the Plasma Center there in Brady Street. I don't know if you know that center there, but I was going there. Most of the students, they used to sell their blood just to get a drink on the weekends. No, I was selling my blood to eat, man. I was completely broke. So I always tell people, they tell stories like, I sweat and bled and tears ran through my face to achieve my dreams. That was true for me. I did bleed because I was selling my blood at the Plasma Center. I worked hard, so I was also cleaning the John Deere factory at night. So I had to work extra, and I was sweating to become a chiropractor. And the tears, I couldn't see my family in 4 years, man. I was saving for chiropractic school, and I had a choice. I either got a $1,000 plane ticket and go see my family, or save that extra $1,000 for chiropractic college. So for 4 years, I did not see my family, and that was rough. So many times I missed them, and I did cry. And that's why I love chiropractic so much. It wasn't easy for me, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for anybody, but especially for me, coming from a different country, learning a new language, not being able to see my family for 4 years. I became this passionate chiropractor. And then when I finished school, I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I went back home. I went back home because at the time, I think there were about 6 chiropractors in the entire country. Chile was a very underserved population. And I moved down there and I started telling the chiropractic story like crazy. I was this crazy guy, this annoying guy that was talking about subluxation, was talking about chiropractic philosophy, was talking about innate intelligence. I was the crazy guy, the only crazy guy at the time doing that, going to radio stations, TV. You have no idea. I was so crazy that I had my office in one area. And one time I got a phone call from a radio show that it was like 12 hours away from me driving distance. And I freaking drove over there to give an interview. I knew I wasn't going to get any patients, which was a lie because 2 people showed up in my office from the interview. So they did drive 12 hours to go see me. But I didn't care. If you gave me the chance to talk about chiropractic and tell the chiropractic story, I would go there and do it. And I do not regret it. Now, 10 years later, the country has a school teaching a chiropractic program. There are about 200 and something chiropractors in the country. About, I would say, 45 chiropractors that they do talk about subluxations, that do teach the principle of chiropractic to their patients in Chile. So to me, it's huge. And that's why I feel comfortable now to be here in the United States, because now the population is no longer underserved. Like, there are plenty of opportunities for people to go see a chiropractor. Back in the day, I was working 12 hours a day. I did not have a choice, man. I had to do it. Like, people kept coming and kept coming in and kept coming in. And I was the only guy that could help them. So I was the only chiropractor for about 300,000 people. So I didn't have a choice. I had to be there. But I loved it. It was a blessing.
So going home after spending 4 years in the States and riding a moped in the middle of Iowa winters and doing
Honda Lead, yep.
Jobs, missing your family, what was it like to finally go back home?
It was a challenge. At the time, I had my little daughter and wife, and the first thing I needed to make sure that they had a safe place to stay, and I did not have that. I graduated and I moved back with $1,000 in my pocket. So it was the story all over again. You know, I came with $3,000 in my pocket to the United States and began my chiropractic journey and became a chiropractor. Now I went back home. I'm pretty sure it was like $1,000. And man, I moved to the poorest region of Chile intentionally because I wanted to be where people needed me the most. I got there in the middle of the winter because I had so little money. I rented the cheapest shack that I could find. This thing it was just like made out of plywood and tin, man. I'm not exaggerating. My head, I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2", and that's pretty tall for a Latino. So my head was like here. So I would have to hunch when I was walking inside the shack. I had a little chair to sit down and take a shower, so I'll be comfortable taking a shower. In the middle of the winter, I go like, and I could see my breath inside the room. Okay. But that didn't stop me. So I printed a bunch of flyers and I went and stood outside the mall, giving away flyers about chiropractic and where my office was. 98% of the flyers ended up in the trash. So I noticed that was a waste. However, out of 1,000 flyers, about 4 people showed up. And one of those 4 people referred 30 new patients to my office. So it was worth it. So I wouldn't say it wasn't worth it. But then I realized that it wasn't the most effective way to do it. So then I realized that there was a YMCA in that city. So I went to the YMCA. I talked to people, say, hey, I'm a chiropractor. Let me talk about chiropractic to the sport people. And they say, okay, let's set up a date. So we set up a date. And then since I had a date and a place, then I went through all the media saying, hey, I'm doing this for free. Would you tell people? So I got a lot of free advertisement too, because I was the new professional, the new chiropractor in town. People didn't know what it was. It was free. So I was advertised for free in many radio stations and TV channels. And that was the beginning of my career. Then we started to see the miracles. People started talking about me. And then I became, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but my passion was so big that I became the most visited chiropractic office in the country with, anywhere between 300 to 500 visits a week. And I'm not trying to talk about numbers. I'm just trying to tell you why I work 12 hours a day. I mean, I was the only one, so I didn't have a choice. I had to serve.
So usually our next question would be what makes you unique, but pretty much everything you said is pretty unique. And I think that
I am a pretty unique guy. Look,
no,
one of the stories that I can tell you, I'm one of the few chiropractors that he got his office vandalized twice. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was, it wasn't theft. Like people came in and destroyed computer, tables, utensils, activators stolen. And it was just to send a message. But I didn't back down. And I called people out. I said, this happened in my office, and I keep it an eye. I had cameras now, and the thing stopped. But I've been threatened to be thrown in jail. Thank goodness, never happened. But I've been threatened. Like I said, I've been vandalized. People even wanted to fight me, just for being the new guy telling a different story. Telling that health comes from the above down, inside out. No, outside in. I've been in the trenches for 10 years, and it is different now to be here at Sherman, where everything works almost perfect. Everything is regulated. Everything is organized. So I don't know, man. I kind of miss the chaos. It's kind of weird to say it, but I used to get that adrenaline rush, and I don't get it anymore. So I kind of miss that.
well, to be this tenacious and unstoppable, to keep pushing through everything you've gone through, I bet you have a lot of like motivational mantras or words of wisdom that just keep gyrating in your head to keep you going. What would some of those phrases be?
Absolutely. I have two, actually. And I swear to you that I do this every day in the mirror. When I start my day, I look at myself, I smile, and I do say, keep smiling. And I remember all those jail chiropractors. I remember everything going through a hard time, myself going through a hard time. You got to keep smiling, man. Like, I'm going to trick my brain. Like right now, there's no reason to smile for many people. I'm still going to do it, man, because I got to trick my brain. It's like, yeah, things are bad outside, but come on, dude, smile, cheer up. So keep smiling is huge for me. And the other one is Dr. Gonstead. I take care of the children of God, and God takes care of me. And I strongly believe that. Like, I would not take no for an answer when people say, oh, I cannot come in. I don't have money to pay you. My work schedule won't let me. Dude, I saw people at 1 a.m. because they couldn't come in earlier. Like, they had weird shifts. They had 2 jobs, and that was the only time that I could see them. I got up and saw them. And of course, that's rough on the family, and I get it, but that's just me. It's like, I believe in chiropractic. I seen the miracles. It brought so much joy to my life to be in practice for 10 years that I could not say no. And I know it's something that people tell me, you got to learn when to say no. I get it. But when it's chiropractic, when it is about chiropractic, it's very hard for me to say no. Very hard. That's who I am.
So how do you think the world would change if every person got under consistent care?
Can you imagine a subluxation-free world where people can experience life? Because we experience life through our nervous system. So if there was no interference, for sure there would be people, thriving people, really. Yeah, I'd be able to perceive life better. My systems will be working better. I cannot guarantee exactly what will happen because every person is different. And chiropractic is not the only thing that they need in their lives. They also need good nutrition, positive thinking, good friends, exercise. I get that. But if we could add chiropractic to their lifestyle, this would be a very healthy world. Like, just like we would think with clarity, we would perceive the world in a different way. So it would be a different world that we're having right now. I believe that there are a lot of self-luxated people making the wrong decisions right now.
Yeah, you said things that really resonate with, I'm sure, a lot of the audience. I think a lot of people that listen to our show and understand chiropractic, they see a different grade of doctor. They see people that are actually out there to change the world and doing it. And it's really inspiring to hear your story. One of the things I would like to, come full circle on is I would ask this to many when I'd interview students. I'd always love to ask them, were you the first doctor in your family?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean for your family if you are the first doctor in the family?
Jim, I am the first person going to college in my family, not even the first doctor, but the first person going to college. So I guess that's the reason why it is so hard for me to say no, because growing up, I saw so much suffering, so much poverty. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I wasn't raised in a shack, and I always had food on my table. So I wasn't on the extreme level of poverty, but I walked 3-4 blocks, next door, and I would see people sleeping on the floor, not having food, not having access to healthcare. So seeing so much suffering when I was little, it made me the man that I am right now. Like I cannot take it. It's something that really hits me when I see someone that is suffering, and if I can do something about it, I will do it. Even if I have to suffer for that. So let's say if I'm hungry and you're hungry, I'm going to split my sandwich in half, and I'm going to give you the other half. I don't care if I'm going to be hungry in 2 hours later, but at least I'm making sure that you're okay if you're next to me. So that's one of the things that it's how I was raised, really. It's how I was raised, and when you see that reality, it changes you. So I feel really blessed that I am the first doctor in my family, the first person going to college in my family. And if anybody who's listening to this podcast who is not a chiropractor, who's thinking about doing it, if I did it coming from this very humble place, you can definitely do it. And of course, you give me a call, send me a message, and I can definitely help you out to come to a wonderful institution, which is Sherman College.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, Chirothin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle!
So I guess that makes you unique too. You work at Sherman College. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be amongst that team and that leadership that's standing up for the truth of chiropractic.
Just imagine that, like you go on the hallways and you see Dr. Dooley, Dr. Decken talking about philosophy. You see Dr. Kent talking about science, and you see all this Dr. Rosie and so many others. I cannot name them all. I'm sorry, but so many wonderful doctors. All of them living the principle. All of them understanding what chiropractic is all about. So the level of unity that I see here it's unbelievable, and not only unity but coherence. Like people are in the same frequency. They want the best for the profession. So I feel absolutely blessed to be here. So when Dr. Cordero gave me a call and asked me, "Hey, you want to join the team?" I didn't even think twice to do it. I was seeing how children were not being able to get adjusted in other countries. I was seeing how we're moving this profession from being a vitalistic profession, a profession that is about life, moving to a symptom-based profession. So I was like, you know what? If I can help you out, guys, doing anything, I'll do it. I mean, I want chiropractic to thrive. And why I want that? Because I saw it. Like I experienced that for 10 years. Let me tell you this. When I started working, I was confused. I was wearing a white coat. I was talking about back pain and sciatica. I went to my first radio show, and I had a medical doctor calling the radio show. This is not BS. This is for real. I had a medical doctor calling the radio show, and the guy said, "Why do you have that guy talking about medicine if he's not a medical doctor?" I think I was talking about sciatica at the time or something like that, and it was a neurologist or someone like that called the radio. But my point is this: is like, now I get it. So after all of that happened, I discovered the blue books from Dr. Strauss. I started listening to Dr. Sigafus, and I started learning this chiropractic philosophy that it was taught to me at Palmer. So I'm not going to lie, it was taught to me at Palmer. But at the time I was a student, I wanted to pass my boards. I would study for something else during philosophy class. I didn't pay attention. I didn't realize how important it was. And then when I was in practice and I was lost, I was like, okay, I got to change things up. So I got rid of the white coat. And I'm never going to forget a very special day in my life that since I was in a foreign country, no insurance, all cash. So I have this amount of cash on my hand. And I was literally crying, man, because I was able to fly my family back to be with me. I was able to open up a bigger office, and I was able to provide even more chiropractic to my community down there. And so I was just extremely grateful. So I wasn't boastful at all, but I was so grateful that I got the big idea. I started telling the chiropractic story, and I was able to accomplish many, many things. And I was like a rocket, really. I got all that money saved, and I said, okay, let's go. And I didn't stop for 10 years. I didn't stop.
So where do you see the profession heading in the next 20 years?
That's going to be up to chiropractors to decide. If chiropractors, they are not, let me take that back. If principal chiropractors that understand our why, our philosophy, they don't get in the boards and start, calling the shots and making policy and having an opinion. If we don't have doctors sending students to principal institutions like Sherman College, one of the biggest mistakes that doctors are doing right now, they're sending students based on location to different chiropractic colleges. Oh, you're from here, so look, 200 miles away, there's this school. Just go there. Then you can learn everything else when you're in practice. That is not true. Like if you go to an institution that they teach you that the Palmers were crazy, that's just part of the history of the profession, I don't think you're going to want to learn the philosophy after you graduate. I truly don't. So, and most chiropractic colleges, they cost about the same. So if it's going to cost about the same, why not send students to an institution that is going to teach our science, our philosophy, and our art? So I'm begging chiropractors, please. These are our future leaders right here. Like I see so many amazing students here at Sherman College of Chiropractic, and I listen to them, and it's like, man, this guy's going to be a leader. This girl's going to be a leader. It's so amazing to see him, watch him grow. But if one principal chiropractor would refer one student a year to Sherman, we would have to open 2-3 more schools, man. But that is not happening. So that's a problem too. We're not telling the story to future chiropractic students, and we got to do that. So if we don't take charge of our profession, I don't know what's going to happen. The only thing I know, I'm going to go down fighting, man, but I don't know what's going to happen.
So what would you say was the most impactful thing to happen in the last 10 years as you've been on your journey?
There are many, many impactful things, but actually there's one that you can look it up on YouTube because we did a 7-minute mini documentary about it. You can look it up for plastic bronchitis, and then you can write down my last name, Campos, and you'll find it on YouTube. And it was this case of this little guy, 6 years old. And what happened is, his mom comes to my office, exhausted, bags under her eyes, huge headaches. And I noticed this woman was extremely stressed out. So I said, "What's going on? Please tell me." And she said, "Well, I've been sleeping on a chair right next to my son's bed at the hospital. And last week they told me that they don't know what the problem he has. He doesn't have a cure, and most likely he's going to die. So they're going to send him this week back home with an oxygen tank, and they're going to send him home to die." So when she told me that, I said, "Okay, I'm going to take care of you. because you need to take care of your son, but I must see your son. And you can see it in the video too. Like when she says it, it's exactly how I said it. I have to see your son. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no idea. The only thing I knew is that if I was able to find this little kid's subluxations, remove the stress from his nervous system, his body was going to work better. His body was going to have the ability to adapt better. And therefore, he would have a better chance to life. First adjustment, nothing happened. Second adjustment, nothing happened. Third adjustment, oxygen levels went back to normal that night. After the sixth adjustment, this kid was coughing so much that his lungs were coming out of his mouth. You can actually see it on the video. We have recorded on the video. That's why I'm telling you, type plastic bronchitis. My last name is Campos, and you'll find it on YouTube. So after the sixth adjustment, he stopped coughing. He wasn't coughing anymore. And he came back to life, and he's a normal kid. He loves to dance now. He loves to play soccer. So my question is, can you imagine if I never told that mom, I must see your child? Can you imagine what happened? I can't. So when that happened, and after I saw that progress, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm always going to tell the chiropractic story, and I'm always going to ask you, if you're a parent, where's your child? I must see him. I must see her. And yeah, that's how my office became a family office too. I wasn't interested in individuals. I was interested in families.
Yeah, some of the things you're saying, they make people think about how they're running their chiropractic life and how they're running their office and where they're sending students to and what it means to be a chiropractor. Maybe there's something you can share with people about what they can do if they wanted to, marketing concept, but what's it going to take for chiropractors to get beyond the 10% utilization number? I know that's kind of like a floating number. It's kind of, some people believe it, some people don't. Like, what is it going to take though for chiropractors to become more mainstream and to become more of an advocate like you've become?
First, the chiropractor must believe in chiropractic. It is very interesting, Jim, because I can tell you when I was wearing the white coat, I saw people getting better from headaches. I saw people getting better from back pain, but I did not see miracles. I didn't, because my mind was in the frame. As soon as I got rid of my white coat, I had two people recovering their hearing, just like Harvey Liller in my career. Two, a lawyer and a mom. I had a lady recovering her vision that doctors were absolutely fascinated. To them, it was impossible that she was supposed to have eye surgery, and after an occiput adjustment, 30 seconds later, her vision came back from that eye. So when you start believing in chiropractic, you truly get to see the power that made the body heals the body. The other thing is you got to be congruent. I mean, if you're talking about the importance of chiropractic, how often are you getting checked? I have met chiropractors that they never get checked, and I say, really? And you are selling this? How often are you reading about it? I cannot tell you. I cannot even think of a day that I did not read about chiropractic or watch a video about chiropractic for the last 10 years. I can't. I have read so much about it and listened to so many speakers, even your podcast. I watched so many episodes because it is also edifying. So, number one, chiropractors, they need to believe in chiropractic to see that change. Second, like we've been saying this whole episode, you got to tell the story. You got to be congruent. And I think third, it's going to be really important now after all this craziness. You guys got to learn how to listen. People are going to be on this outside-in mentality so badly that it doesn't matter what you say, they will know they're not going to listen to you. They're going to try to be, let's say if I tell a person X amount of visits, like you got to come 12 visits, that person's going to be, okay, you know, my wife just lost her job. I don't have any money. So it's going to be hard for that person to comply. So we're going to have to be able to listen to that and supply care for people that are going to need it, and maybe they won't be able to afford it. We're going to have to listen, and after we listen, base ourselves on common beliefs. And what I mean by that is, like, there may be people coming into the office just because they want a quick fix. My back hurts and blah, blah, blah. So listen to them. And then after we listen to them, be like, okay, so you want to feel better. I agree with you. And we want you to feel better. Why? What do you want to do once you feel better? Oh, I want to be able to play with my kid again. And then we start creating, you know, we go from this pay mentality to this life mentality. But we're really going to have to listen after this crisis. People are going to be having a hard time, and we are servants. We're there to serve. So, and to be a good servant, you got to learn how to listen.
So I know you've tried things like flyers and radio spots, but what other kind of marketing techniques did you use to get more patients in the door?
I know in some countries it's illegal, but in mine it wasn't. So testimonials on Facebook, they were very powerful, extremely powerful. Every time I uploaded a testimonial and I paid, you know, like $20, $30, so the ad would run for a couple of days, I would easily get 5,000, 6,000 hits. My office is still open in Chile, and it has close to 19,000 followers. So Facebook was really big. I know, again, some countries cannot do that, but if you can, testimonials are really powerful on Facebook. And the other thing that it was very powerful for me is to do lectures, group lectures, because I was getting so many new patients every day, really, that instead of telling the same story over and over and over again, I got everybody on the same night together. I told everybody the story. This is how I practice. This is how I roll. Are you in? Are you out? Is your call, not mine? But that helped me a lot. So patient lectures and Facebook were huge practice buildings for me.
So both ends of the spectrum, in person and on digital platform.
Absolutely. You have to, especially now. We don't see each other anymore. Like I used to go to a conference and give you a big hug. Now, you know, I got to go like this. Digital is going to be huge. So what you're doing right now is huge. It's going to be, it was important before, but now it's going to be way more important. And that's the other thing too, that is going to be interesting. People are going to have to start trusting it again. It's not like they didn't trust us before. What I mean is, like, people, they don't want to be touched anymore. They don't want to be hugged anymore. And we work with this. So we're going to have to re-educate the public that it's okay. Maybe for a couple of months. I hate that, but maybe we're going to have to wear gloves, you know, because people are going to be scared. But again, there are some chiropractors that they won't. They have done a great job teaching our philosophy, what we do, teaching people that it's not about the virus, it's about the host. So yeah, every office is going to be different, but digital is going to be huge. Absolutely.
Well, it's the same as old school marketing to new school marketing. And if you want to be effective, you have to understand a little bit of both. And when it comes to being the practitioner, yeah, you have to be sensitive to the environment of what the population's telling you and how they want to, matriculate back into the clinics, because, you know, like you said, people are going to want to come back into chiropractic at record numbers. The chiropractor's going to get better at telling the story. Period. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to become better communicators of what chiropractic does. And yeah, I mean, you have to be able to understand that the chiropractic message has to be told, and the chiropractor has to fall in love with it. And that's really where it comes to winning the game, is you have to love what you do.
Absolutely.
And that's why the old saying is when you have a job that you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely. And it's very true.
And I think that's going to have to be the new narrative for chiropractic going forward, is we love what we do so much that it's not work. and your health and well-being of your community and your family matters more to us than any fear of anything. And we're going to step into the light and take care of you, regardless if you thought it was something you thought you believed in, because chiropractic isn't a belief system.
Right.
And I think that that's something that is also going to have to be re-educated, is that chiropractic helps people not only with clearing their nervous system from interference, but it also helps keep people healthy, and that makes the host stronger.
Absolutely.
All these things.
And this is a time to get stronger as a person, as a profession. And I get it. And there are moments that we're concerned. How am I going to pay my rent? I get it. But last 2 weeks, I've been having Zoom meetings with chiropractors in South America. And I won't say much, but we're going to start a really important and powerful study. And I got 10 people to volunteer to do it. And it's going to have an impact in the profession. So even though I am locked down, I want to have an impact in the profession. It's not about ego. It's not about me. It's about chiropractic. And same for those chiropractors that are going to work on this study, because we understand that the stress levels are going to be huge after this lockdown. So we're going to use that and study that, and we're going to publish that. So I'm really excited to work with these guys.
That's awesome.
So, quick side question. Who were some of your chiropractic heroes as you were going through your journey trying to get through school?
Well, the first one is Dr. Lee Eller, who passed away, and he was the one that taught me about chiropractic and invited me to come to the United States. I stayed with him for 2 years at his house while I was going to community college. So he's definitely a hero of mine, him and his wife. Let me see. Oh, when I was in Chile, I visited a couple offices. And quite a few of them, they were like, yeah, man, people don't get it. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know, man. You should stay in the U.S. And then I went to see this doctor who graduated from Palmer College in 1978, I think. And he was working in the very south of Chile, in Patagonia. And I saw his office, and like, boom, one person after the other, one person. And he was only adjusting and taking care of people. And it was just amazing to watch him work. And then I asked him, should I come back to Chile? And he just laughed. He's like, are you kidding me, man? Like, look how busy I am. And I'm not taking care, not even of 1% of the population in this town. Of course, like people, the world needs chiropractic, and people in Chile need chiropractic. You have to come back. And this is Dr. Siebert. So those two are definitely my heroes in my journey. And there are so many more mentors and people that they have taught me so many things. So, you know, I don't have time to name everybody, but those two were the key chiropractors early in my career to be the man that I am right now. And I definitely have to recognize them.
So when you have some free time available, what kind of things do you like to read or listen to? What are some of the hobbies?
You know, I love audiobooks. If I start reading, I get sleepy, and I usually fall asleep after 4 pages. So I'm a really bad reader. I don't know why that is, man, but I usually read. When I read at night, and I fall asleep. So most of the time I have audiobooks. And the last one I listened that I loved was The Power of Now by Edgar Tolle. Really, really powerful book that it makes you realize the importance of the present. And one thing that I learned from that book that I can share with you, he said, you know, people don't really have problems. And I was like, come on, man, everybody has problems. He said, like, no, people have situations that they need to deal with. But the problem is in your mind. So let's say I got to fix this. That's the situation. Go fix it. But the problem is, oh man, if I don't fix this, I'm not going to have a job. And if I don't have a job, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. And if I don't pay my rent, I'm probably not going to be able to eat. And I create this big problem in my head. So he was saying, no, people don't really have problems. They have situations that they need to deal with and they need to fix. But the problem is in your head. And after I heard that, man, it changed my life significantly. So every time I'm freaking out, especially during this lockdown, and I say, okay, no, it's not a problem. It's a situation. And what am I going to do about this situation? And I've been doing it. I've been doing this podcast. I've been reading. I've been communicating. I'm doing a Zoom meeting tomorrow in Spanish with more than 40, 50 chiropractors from South America. We're going to do this study too. So I'm staying busy, man. I'm staying busy.
Any hobbies?
I love martial arts. I'm a huge martial arts fan. I still train and hit the bag quite often. I used to be a former MMA referee in my spare time. So yeah, I'm intense.
I hear you're quite the dancer as well.
And I love, yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, you call me out and I have to do it. Like people, they've been telling me, dude, you got to do a dance off. You got to do a dance off. So tonight is Friday night, an exclusive to Cairo Hustle. Tonight I will record a dance video and I'm going to challenge people to the dance off. You got it.
Awesome.
So what are some websites or social media links where people can find out more about you?
Well, right now I'm a Sherman guy. So please, on Google, type Sherman College and then roar, as a lion roaring, roar, which is right here, roar. And I am the director of that program. And this program is just amazing. Let me tell you why. You don't have to pay anything to be a roar doctor. What you do is you work with me to mentor the future generations. So let's say I have students that they want to go to an office and be mentored by a chiropractor, prospective students, and they go to your office. Or you can refer a student to us. And these students that you mentor, I'm able to know who they are and give them a scholarship under your name, doctor. So if you refer that student is going to, let's say Johnson, it's going to have the Dr. Johnson scholarship, the Roar scholarship. So also if I get a call from a university, hey, we want to know more about chiropractic. Instead of me flying to Colorado, I give you a call and say, hey, Jim, can you help me out? There's a university that wants to know about chiropractic. And I ask you to go there and talk to students about chiropractic. So that way you become an ambassador for chiropractic and for Sherman College. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it's a win-win situation. Because let's say you go to a university, to your local college to speak about chiropractic. The students are going to know you. They're going to tell their friends. Some of them, they may come to your office as a patient. Some of them, they might become chiropractors in the future. The profession wins. So I love the program, man. And like I said earlier in the interview, if every principal chiropractor would refer at least one person a year to Sherman College, we would have to open 3 schools, man. But it's not happening. So we need to step up the game there. And I'm not saying it because I work here. It's because I see the problem. Like, we need the principal back. And if we have only 3 schools teaching the principals and 17 telling you that the Palmers were crazy and or telling you that it was just history, that we need to move on and progress and evolve, it's going to be hard to keep principal chiropractic. It's going to be hard to survive. So guys, we need you.
Well, for the record, you should come out to Colorado anyway. Come hang out.
I'd love to, man. I'd love to. Yeah, Mile High. I'll be there.
So we're just about at the end of this program. Was there anything you wanted to talk about that we did not ask you about?
No, I think pretty much we covered everything, man. And I'm just so happy to see you guys. You know, guys, that I love you. Like, you watch me grow and I watch you grow too. And I love that. I'm so proud that I'm wearing your belt, man. My waist right now says Cairo Hustle around me. So thank you for that gift. So I remember you every day because every day I wear pants.
I hope so.
So amazing. Like, the 2 best gift, man, that you can give a guy is a belt and a refrigerator magnet. They'll never forget about you, man. So there you go. That's my marketing advice.
Magnets coming up next. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for being our guest today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, guys. I love you, and stay safe.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to Cairo Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.